Hello everyone, Crystal Fissure here, and welcome to a new Spyro Reignited Trilogy video, this time comparing Idle Springs in the PS1 version to the PS4 version, as we have recently seen. So we've got the two footages, that is not really a word. We've got the two pieces of footage side by side. Unfortunately, we can't do as smooth of a camera, transition as the new version. Obviously, being able to use the left and right, or the right analog stick to aim in the new version is going to be very advantageous for people looking around and wanting to get pretty shots. Of course, the widescreen resolution, as I've mentioned, adding an extra dimension, adding extra, clarity and vision to the shot. So firstly, let's point out the HUD here and just Foreman Bob in general. Obviously, always love the original Foreman Bob. I think that they've done a great job with the new Foreman Bob in terms of what they have, because a lot of the time when you make people with small faces, it's never going to look quite right. Like someone did a mock-up on the Spyro Reddit and it didn't quite look right. So I think they've actually done a good job, if you ask me. I like the emotive personality of the way that the guys open the doors as well. I think they've done a good job with that. Now, I'm going to talk about the skybox and general vibe a little bit later, but I will say that, one thing you notice very, very clearly about the original Idle Springs is it's beautifully vibrant. The use of the way that they've done the mood lighting and stuff like that is fantastic. And I understand technology changes and stuff like that. Vertex lighting is not really used, traditionally anymore. Obviously, it's more of an old thing. But I think that honestly gives the original Spyro kind of the edge in a way. Also, the HUD, while more minimalistic in the original version, the one in the Toys of Bob version, Reignited, looks a little bit too, as someone pointed this out in my comment section, I feel like it looks a little bit too mobile game-esque or something. I don't know, for lack of a better word. I think that's kind of well put, unfortunately. I do hope they change the HUD a little bit to kind of, I like the yellow text in the original game. It was nothing crazy, but it just, I don't know, something about it just doesn't seem as right. This challenge here is, the exact same. I don't know what they've changed, the thing that's like a pyramid on it or something like that, some Monsters Inc. Scare Island stuff. But yeah, thank you, Foreman Budweiser. Let me tell you this, worst beer I've ever had, Bud Light Lime. And just regular Bud Light. I went to America this year, and yeah. Anyway, love the illumination of them in both versions. Liking the gems. I'm liking the gems in this. I'm happy that the Spyro 2 gems are, different to the Spyro 1 gems, obviously, because that would have been a absolutely gigantic oversight if they looked exactly the same. That would have been terrifying. There is another oversight coming up in a bit, but yeah, skybox wise, look at that. The difference is immense. This level could look absolutely even beyond, I think it looks overall pretty good, but it would look even better with a beautiful, vibrant skybox. Look at that. You get the hills there. You see what they've done is, for some reason, it's a lot higher up now, so it's covering that beautiful skybox. Look at the sort of sunset. Look at the angle of that shot. One of them, to me, it's objective that the one on the left, the original game, has more of an ambient, sort of beautiful, pretty vibe to it. I think that they've done a good job with some of the texturing and stuff like that in the original version, but honestly, in the new version, but yeah, I love the original, and I think that I really need to get that skybox back. Look at the blue as well. Look at how the water looks so pretty. It almost looks a bit like Misty Bog. And so, yeah, what I do like though is the fact that you can see our old friend Foreman there actually, in the side because of the widescreen resolution. So that's a positive thing. This is how long it took me to do this challenge. This challenge appears to be, he got a pretty good run. Foreman Bud, made it pretty easy and Reignited. There we go. We're catching up now. I love doing these videos. I really do hope you enjoy them as well. And if you like them, like it. Leave a like on it. If you're not subscribed, subscribe. I don't always push that, but right now we got some big shiz coming. Coming through here. Look at the mood lighting again in the original version. In Spyro 2, it's just beautiful. This section here, I really like the waterfall in both versions, of course, but I like the sort of the deeper greens in the original game. And then when you contrast it with the skybox up there, to me, it's just better. It's not something that will be too hard for Toys to Bob to do, and part of me wonders, are they looking for criticism? Are they looking for people to be pointed out, so then they will actually do it? It's almost like, are they testing it? believe it or not. That's, you know what I mean? Like, it's hard to explain, but it almost feels like it's a test. Like, do people notice? Are people this hardcore of fans? Now, Zoe, I've talked about that before, and was massively downvoted on the Spyro Reddit for pointing this out, but I feel like Zoe is a little bit conservative in this version. I know that she's out indoors, it's a bit less lighting, but I really do, I mean, it's not that I'm like some pervert. I'm like, oh, the Ted Price stuff back in the day, the make the dress shorter, make them sexier or whatever. But I do think that there's something to be said about the original Zoe's charm and kind of not ditziness, but like the way that she looks is almost more like Tinkerbell. That one looks more like a Game of Thrones sort of, I don't know, sort of character. This section here, notice how there wasn't, I'll go back to it in a minute, but the whole section in the Reignited is now all grassy, where the other version wasn't, more tiled. Now this is another example of the section where I prefer the darker grass. I wish that we'd go for like a darker vibe in here like that, because I feel like it would exaggerate the lighting of the mushroom sort of illumination there, which it actually is a good thing. I think that would actually be a genuinely good thing. I really like that addition. I like the addition. There was a mushroom in the other section as well, again, which I'll go back to. Now here's Zoe again. Yes, thank you, Zoe. See, look at the yellow. Yellow is clear, the hair is it's just more pronounced. The original version feels more pronounced, even though the Reignited Trilogy model is objectively, more detailed overall. Anyway, going over to this section here. I just think that it just comes down to, in a way, contrast as well, like making the greens a bit different from, like from each other, making them more, because what looks good about Idle Springs when you've got like the dark and light grass, it really adds a difference. It adds a difference in contrast and detail and definition. And again, I don't think this is rocket science. This isn't me saying that the Reignited Trilogy version is terrible. It's just pointing out some of the subtle differences in the way in which, things were done back in the day and how they almost made, more with less, This challenge here, of course, returning like every other challenge. The hula challenge as well down at the end. Let me actually, I'm doing this pretty slowly. There you go. I was trying to like line it up with the footage, and I think for the most part I did actually a fairly decent job. Anyway, there's Foreman Bud. Again, looking cool. The gem. The orb. I'll talk about this at the very end, but the orb, that to me and to other people looks like it's almost like the talisman animation or something. Like that's what you get the talisman. I will say this, there is no chance that is the finished product in terms of the orb and everything like that. I guarantee you that is not the case. I can't literally guarantee, but just believe me, fellas. All right. So look at what happens when you're under there. You can see the purple skybox up there. It's just beautiful. Whereas if you look up there, it's a lot more murkier in the Reignited. So that's an example of that. But yeah, what I do really love is I absolutely love, and the thing is, it would make the sort of the temple sort of thing, the Idle Springs, it would make it actually pop more by having that red skybox. It would do wonders to the level. But, scenery-wise and stuff like that, like you look at that, I think they've done a great job with that. Love the idle heads and stuff. Obviously, look, there's very little definition in the original version. And that's kind of, there'll always be a charm to that. But I think that, yeah, they've done an exceptional job. Like sort of going with the idols and stuff. But the original version skybox makes everything just pop just a little bit more. Now, look at Reignited here. You'll see there's just grass. Look, whereas in the original, you'll see that it was tiled. I mean, I guess the point is that the grass has grown over it, but I prefer the original version because I think that, that's kind of that's what they wanted. It's meant to sort of differentiate between the two sections. Again, contrast, as opposed to just, whacking fauna and flora and everything just on top of everything. You see that there was a mushroom over there as well. Notice there's something on the walls as well as the fire, what's it called, illuminated fire. That's like kind of a lighting thing. They do that on purpose because of, different lighting engines. Yeah. You have to wonder what a PS2 version of like a Reignited Trilogy on PS2 version would look like, or even PS3. It would be interesting. It's almost a limitation how crazy like detailed the lighting has to be nowadays. Anyway, we only get a very brief look at this section here, disappointingly. Cannot wait to see that waterfall section there. I hope that they make it really nice and dark and sort of but lit up at the same time. As we get to the final section, you'll notice that actually for some reason the power-ups are quite pronounced, and look at the way that there's like an electricity current running through the rocks there. Hula Stella as well. Yeah, not too bad there. Not too bad at all. Reminds me of something from some kind of animated show, but I actually can't remember the specifics here. But anyway, we're going to run through. We're going to make it. We're going to do it. Can I do this first go? Spoiler alert. I can. I will. And then, noticeably, there is no real hula dance here. I feel like something is not done yet. Again, not done. Not done. We still have at least 50 days worth of development. You've got to remember the game's got to go gold. So, there's still going to be lots of stuff updated and changed, I hope. Will it be enough to satisfy like people that are like really, really nitpicky? Maybe not. But for example, look at that. When you compare the orbs Inspired 2 are beautiful, and I really do hope that the Reignited Trilogy Toys for Bob can actually make them more in line with the originals. Just because I think they've got this vibrancy that just looks awesome. And then, of course, the Hula Girls looking pretty cool, very nice and emotive. Alright guys, thank you for watching. I'll see you later.